The Dragon Empire was vast, filled with glittering towers, flying dragons, and the power of the oldest dragons in the universe. Among them, the Dragon Emperor ruled with unmatched strength and pride. His empire was feared by all, except by time itself. Yet inside the grand palace, behind walls of gold and fireproof glass, a secret suffered in silence. The emperor's youngest son Kael was very sick. Not with wounds from battle or magic, but a strange sickness that no dragon healer could cure. Every day he grew weaker, his golden scales dimming and his breath shallow. The emperor had sent every top doctor, wizard, and mystic in the kingdom to help. Still, Kael's condition worsened. Despite his status, no one dared get close. Courtiers whispered behind closed doors, worried that helping the sick prince could be dangerous. Some even wished he would just disappear so the throne would not be weak. Kael felt alone. The palace, with all its luxury, felt empty. Guards patrolled in cold silence. Servants walked past him without a glance. He wanted someone to care, but no one did. The Dragon Emperor was too busy with political meetings, battles, and empire matters to notice his youngest son's pain. Far below the glittering halls, in the dusty corridors of the palace, worked a human cleaner named Joran. Joran was small, clever, and always quiet. No one paid attention to him. Not the nobles, not the soldiers, not even the Dragon Emperor. But Joran had a heart bigger than the tallest tower in the empire. He had a secret curiosity about the dragon's world. And sometimes he lingered near the sick prince, watching and hoping he could help. One morning, as the cold sun of the Dragon Empire rose over the city, Kael's cough grew worse. His golden eyes flickered, and he could not lift his head from the soft silk pillow. A strange fear filled the palace. The doctors whispered urgently, but no action was taken. Joran, carrying his broom, heard the muffled sound of Kael's coughing. He peeked into the room and froze. The prince's face was pale, the color of ash. The boy's tiny chest heaved weakly. Joran's hands shook. He knew he had to act, but what could a simple human cleaner do against dragons and powerful healers? He crept closer, hiding behind the thick velvet curtains. Kael's eyes opened. They were golden dim, but searching. "Please help me," the prince whispered, barely audible. Joran swallowed hard. "I will," he said softly, almost to himself. No one else seemed to care. But Joran did. Suddenly, one of the royal guards entered the room. "What are you doing here, human?" the guard barked. His eyes were cold. Humans were considered lowly in the Dragon Empire, barely allowed near the royal family. Joran stepped back, bowing quickly. I was cleaning, sir. I mean no harm." The guard narrowed his eyes but left, muttering to himself. Joran's heart raced. He had a plan, but it was risky. He had to carry Kael to a place where humans and dragons could not easily find them. A hospital hidden under the city, where human doctors dared to treat even royal dragons. Carefully he lifted Kael from the soft pillow. The prince's body was fragile, lighter than a feather but burning with fever. Joran wrapped him in a thick cloak to hide him from prying eyes. Every step through the palace halls was terrifying. One wrong move, and the guards would catch him. Kael groaned softly, shivering. Almost there," Joran whispered, his voice shaking. Outside, the morning light dazzled on the dragon-shaped towers. Joran moved quickly, ducking behind pillars and avoiding patrols. Every shadow seemed to watch him. He felt the weight of the sick prince, the fear of discovery, and the pressure of the unknown future all at once. Suddenly, a dragon swooped overhead, its wings casting a shadow over the hallway. Joran froze. He could hear the heavy steps of guards closing in behind him. There was no turning back. With a deep breath he sprinted, dodging guards, hiding behind statues, and using every trick he had learned while cleaning the palace. Finally, he reached the secret passage, a narrow tunnel that led under the city, known only to a few humans. Joran lifted Kael carefully and slipped inside. The tunnel was dark, the air damp and heavy, but it was safe for now. As they moved through the winding corridors, Kael's breathing became more labored. Joran's heart pounded. He had never carried a dragon prince before. What if Kael didn't survive the journey? What if the Dragon Emperor discovered him? The thought made his hands tremble, But he kept moving step by step. After what felt like hours, they finally reached the hidden hospital. Human doctors stared at the sight. A golden-scaled dragon boy in a cloak, trembling and sick. But there was no hesitation. They took Kael immediately, examining him, giving him water and medicine. Joran stood back, exhausted and frightened. He had risked everything for a boy no one else cared for. Yet in that moment, he felt a strange warmth. Kael opened his eyes slightly and whispered, "Thank you, human." Joran nodded, trying to smile. "You're going to be okay," he promised. Little did he know, this act of courage would set off a chain of events that no one in the Dragon Empire could imagine. A human had dared to challenge the rules of dragons, to care where everyone else turned away. And the Empire itself was about to notice. The story had only just begun. The hidden hospital was quiet, lit by dim lamps that flickered against the cold stone walls. Kael lay on a soft bed, his golden scales dull, but steady breath slowly returning. The human doctors worked tirelessly, giving him medicine, warm water, and herbs that dragons had never seen before. Joran, exhausted from carrying Kael through the palace, sat on a small chair, his hands shaking. He watched the boy with worry. Though humans were weak compared to dragons, Joran had courage, and for the first time Kael felt hope. "Will I get better?" Kael asked weakly, his voice almost a whisper. "You will," Joran replied firmly. "I promise I won't leave you." Outside the hospital, danger was closing in. Rumors of the missing prince had spread through the palace. Guards were questioning servants, patrols were doubling, and the Dragon Emperor himself was growing furious. His son was nowhere to be found, and the shame of losing the boy, even if everyone else ignored him, burned like fire in his chest. Meanwhile, Kael's illness began to reveal a deeper mystery. The human doctors noticed strange patterns. His heart beat irregularly, and his magic energy was unstable. "This isn't just a sickness," whispered one doctor to another. "Something is inside him, something powerful." Kael stirred, his golden eyes opening slowly. "What do you mean?" he asked, confusion in his voice. "Your illness is more than natural," the doctor explained. "It is connected to a hidden force, a secret you were born with. Only someone brave enough could survive it." Joran frowned. "Hidden force? What does that mean?" The doctor shook his head. "I don't know yet, but it could be dangerous for you and the Empire." Kael's eyes widened. He had always known he was different from other dragons, smaller and weaker than his brothers, but now it seemed his life carried more secrets than anyone had imagined. At the same time, the Dragon Emperor had summoned his council. "Find my son. I don't care who it is," he roared. His voice shook the walls. "No human, no servant, no creature of the Empire will hide him from me." The council nodded nervously. Dragons feared the Emperor's wrath, but many also doubted the boy was important. Some whispered that letting Kael die would make the Empire stronger. Others quietly disagreed, remembering the Emperor's love for his youngest child. Back in the hidden hospital, Kael's strength slowly returned. Joran was there at every moment, fetching medicine, bringing water, and keeping him warm. Kael began to speak more, asking questions about humans and their world. "I never knew humans could be so brave," Kael said one evening. His golden eyes sparkled weakly. "Why do you risk your life for me?" Joran shrugged, trying to hide the fear in his voice. "Because no one else would. Someone has to care." Kael smiled faintly. "Then maybe humans aren't so weak after all." The moment was broken by a loud crash outside the hospital. Rocks fell, and the doors rattled violently. Guards, driven by the Emperor's orders, had discovered the hidden entrance. Joran's heart raced. "Quick! Hide!" whispered one of the human doctors, pointing to a narrow side passage. Joran lifted Kael carefully, just as the first dragons entered the hospital. Golden scales glinted in the torchlight, and their eyes burned with anger. "The boy," one shouted. "Where is he?" The humans tried to fight, but dragons were too powerful. Joran ran, carrying Kael through twisting tunnels, dodging traps and fallen debris. Every step was a struggle. Kael's small body was weak, and the journey was exhausting. Suddenly, they reached a chamber filled with glowing blue water. "The healing pool," whispered the doctor. It is the last chance. Kael was placed in the water, and slowly, a strange light surrounded him. His golden scales began to shine brighter, his cough stopped, and his weak body strengthened. The hidden force inside him seemed to awaken. Joran watched amazed. The boy, no, the young dragon, was changing. Something powerful, ancient, and mysterious was stirring. Outside, the Emperor's dragons were closing in. Bring me my son, the Emperor commanded, his eyes blazing like fire. But none of the guards knew how to enter the secret tunnels. The hidden hospital was almost impossible to find. Back inside, Kael opened his eyes, now glowing with new energy. Joran, I feel different, he said. Stronger, but something is calling me. Joran frowned. Calling you? What do you mean? Kael's gaze hardened. I don't know yet, but I think I am meant for something bigger. Something no one expected. The doctor nodded. This is what I feared, and what I hoped for. The hidden force inside him. It is awakening. He will not just be a sick boy anymore. He may change the fate of the entire empire. Joran's heart raced. He had risked his life for a boy, and now that boy might hold power beyond imagination. But with great power came great danger. The Emperor would never forgive this defiance. And there were enemies, both inside and outside the palace, who would see Kael as a threat. Kael smiled faintly at Joran. I owe you my life. I will never forget you, human. Joran felt a strange pride. And I will never leave you, he replied. No matter what happens. Outside, the wind carried the distant roar of dragons searching for the boy. Inside, Kael's golden eyes shone brighter than ever. The hidden force had awakened, and the young prince was no longer just a sick child. He was becoming a force that could reshape the dragon empire forever. And somewhere deep in the shadows of the palace, spies and traitors watched, whispering, plotting. The return of the dragon emperor's son could bring hope or chaos. The adventure had only just begun. The hidden hospital was silent after Kael's recovery. His golden scales glimmered in the soft torchlight, his weak cough gone. But Kael was no longer the sick boy who needed saving. The hidden force inside him had awakened, and with it came strength and awareness beyond any dragon's imagination. Joran watched the young prince, a mixture of awe and fear in his eyes. Kael, you are different, he said softly. Kael turned to him, his golden eyes burning with energy. I feel it, Joran. I can sense everything, the palace, the dragons, even the emperor himself. I'm no longer weak. Joran gulped. You're still my friend, right? Kael nodded. Always. But now, I must face my destiny. The empire cannot ignore me anymore. Outside, the dragon emperor's patrols had intensified. The palace was on high alert. Rumors of the prince's survival spread quickly. Some dragons whispered fearfully that Kael was no ordinary dragon, that something strange was happening to him. Others believed it was an opportunity to control him or use his power for themselves. Joran knew it was only a matter of time before the emperor would discover Kael's hiding place. They needed a plan. The human doctor spoke gravely. Kael's power is dangerous. If the wrong dragon finds you, it could be fatal. But you can control it. Only if you face your past, your fear, and your destiny. Kael clenched his small fists. I am ready. Joran swallowed hard. Ready to go back to the palace? Face your father. Kael nodded. Yes. But I will not go alone. You saved me once. Now we will face them together. They moved quietly through the secret tunnels, emerging just outside the palace walls under the cover of night. The city below was quiet, but the palace towers glowed like gold. Shadows moved along the Stop! Kael shouted. The patrol dragon froze. Its eyes widened in surprise, then it bowed its head. Kael's hidden force was not just healing, it was commanding, influencing even other dragons. Joran whispered, astonished. You can control them? Kael smiled faintly. I think I can. Inside the palace, the dragon emperor paced in his golden chamber. His anger had turned to worry. The boy was alive, and rumors of Kael's power reached him. Guards ran in reporting sightings. Father, the boy, he is not sick anymore. Something strange, he glows. He commands the patrol dragons. The Emperor's eyes widened. Fear flickered for the first time. Impossible, he shouted. Bring him to me. But Kael was already inside the palace walls. With Joran at his side, he moved with stealth and speed, unseen by most. They reached the throne hall, the heart of the empire, where the Emperor waited, fury blazing in his golden eyes. Kael stepped forward, trembling slightly, but his golden scales shone like fire. Father, he said firmly. I am here. I am not weak anymore. The Emperor's roar shook the hall. Kael, how dare you hide? How dare you defy me? I did not hide to defy you, Kael replied calmly. I hid because no one cared, until Joran did. And now I will not be ignored. I am alive, strong, and ready to claim my place. The court gasped. Dragons whispered. The Emperor's advisors were frozen, unsure of how to respond. No dragon had ever spoken to the Emperor this way. Kael raised his hands. Golden light spread across the hall, shimmering like a river of fire. The Emperor took a step back, astonished. Even his strength could not stop the glow. The patrol dragons, sensing Kael's power, bowed in respect and fear. You command them? The Emperor whispered. Kael nodded. Yes. And I command my destiny. I will not be a weak prince anymore. The Emperor's face hardened. Rage and pride clashed. Then show me your strength, Kael. Prove you are worthy. Kael closed his eyes, feeling the hidden force inside him. It pulsed like a heartbeat, filling every scale, every muscle, every thought. He opened his eyes, golden, shining, unstoppable, and leapt forward. The light spread across the throne hall, illuminating every shadow, every doubt. Joran watched, amazed and terrified. The boy he had carried, the prince he had saved, was now a force no one could ignore. The Emperor raised his claws, preparing for battle, but Kael stopped. Father, I do not wish to fight you. I only wish to be seen, to be cared for, and to help this empire. But if anyone dares to harm the innocent, I will not hold back. Silence filled the hall. Even the Emperor could not speak. For the first time, he saw his son, not weak, not sick, but strong, wise, and filled with a power beyond dragons. Slowly, the Emperor lowered his claws. Kael, my son, you are extraordinary, he said, voice trembling. Kael nodded. Thank you, father. But I could not have done this alone. Joran saved me. Humans can be heroes too. The court was stunned. Whispers filled the room. The Dragon Empire had witnessed something it would never forget. A sick prince saved by a human, awakening a power that could change everything. Outside, the city was quiet. But the empire had shifted. Alliances would form, enemies would plot, and Kael's journey was only beginning. The young dragon prince, once ignored and weak, had become a symbol of hope, courage, and change. Joran smiled quietly. We did it, Kael. Kael looked at him, golden eyes warm. We did it together, human. And this is only the beginning. The Dragon Emperor watched silently, pride and fear in his heart. His son had grown stronger than he had imagined. The empire would never be the same again. And so, the legend of the Dragon Emperor's son, the boy no one cared for, began. A boy saved by a human cleaner, who awakened a power that could reshape the Dragon Empire forever. The story ended. Or perhaps, it had only just begun.